Welcome back to the Barry Charles Footy Show. Yes, round 3, over and dusted. Ready for the review show. But before we start, let's just have a little silence here. Moment silence here for the great John Sattler, winning his 4 premierships as captain of this great South Sydney side. A legend of the game. Let's just give a moment's silence to the great man. Thank you, John Sattler. Let's get ready for the footy. What a round of footy it was. We had a few of the Storm losing 2 games in a row. What's doing there? Tim Sheen's lost for words after the game. What is happening? A change is happening there. The Eels lose 3 in a row. And could they lose 5 in a row? The Mitchell Moses saga continues. Ryan Madison fallout as well as he returns next week. The Roosters bounce back into premiership credentials, and Sticky Stewart finds a way to get his Raiders back in the hunt for the finals. Here early on in round 3, let's have a look at the review show of the NRL round 3. Starting off on Thursday night at Pines Park, the mighty Manly Seagulls get it done against the Eels in a game that was very, very topsy-turvy. Absolutely topsy-turvy. The first 25 minutes, you just thought Manly were going to win this game by about 40 points. And next minute, Eels just bounced back, straight back into the game. Then a to-and-fro matchup right to the end. Gufferson had a great game, no doubt about it. Gufferson. He led Parramatta back into the game on his own. But the last 12 minutes, Olakau'atu really bounced back for Manly to get them over the line. If we look at a bit of the stats here, Manly was 70%, and the Eels were 64%, so it wasn't great in terms of the completion rates from both sides. But yes, when you look at Manly, they really the kicking meters was the difference here. 200 meters difference in the kicking game. That shows you where this game was won. Well, if you listen to me, Tommy Tureta scored a try. Well done, he got 2. He was very good. Over 200 meters. He's just killing it at the moment. Yes, the whole back line pretty much ran for decent meters, so you can't complain when they're doing that. The usual Trebojevic and Olakau'atu leading from the front, and Paseka had a very good game as well for Manly fans. Eels, well, they got their bench a bit better this week. Makatoa having a good 100 metres off the bench. Jermaine Hopgood continues to play some good footy. Bryce Cartwright had his best game in probably years. Outstanding, but he lost the game in the end of the day. And Dylan Brown really started to make some metres in that second half. But at the end of the day, the Parramatta Eels still lost, and their kicking game was a little lackluster. And while Moses continues to not resign, I think this is just going to keep dragging. And I'm predicting 5 losses in a row. There's a chance they could win this week coming up. There's no doubt about it, they can win next week, but whether or not they can will probably be a bit of an interesting thing since they just re-signed Brad Arthur. If they lose 5 in a row, well, question marks over that decision. Yes, let's go on to one of the craziest players of the season, really. All the talking point this season was not the only talking point, but what's happening with Jackson Hastings? Not shaking Sean O'Sullivan's hand after the game. I mean, when does this ever end? John Bateman hates him. I mean, just crazy fights with Tommy Talau. I mean, I just don't know what's happening here. If you want my honest opinion, he's a grub. Just nothing else, an absolute grub. He's an old school. Thinks he's God's gift. Something like that. That's pretty much what Jackson Hastings is. He pretends to be great on the camera, but everyone knows he's not. Not to bag anyone, but it's just some people are just like that, unfortunately. Um, yes, for the Knights, though, it's just not looking good for them. Wooden spoon contenders for mine on what I've seen, even though they were courageous last week, but the Tigers were that bad. They were a bit Ponga. I think for the Knights, he needs to go back to fullback, and maybe Lockie Miller goes into the halves. I also question Jackson Hastings, whether he will even be in the team by the end of the season. On what I'm seeing, there's just not much confidence in Jackson Hastings, and I think this will be his last club in the NRL. Yeah, the completion rates, well, it actually wasn't too bad, 72%. But it's not good enough at this level, and with the Dolphins at 80%, you can see what the difference in the game was in this one. Dolphins had about 5% more of the ball, but they delivered on that, when some teams haven't delivered on that. So for the Dolphins to deal with probably one of the weakest squads in the comp shows you how good Wayne Bennett, the master, is. But for me, for Dolphins fans, great to see them winning, but I still don't think they'll make the top 8. I think they're a couple injuries away, and look out, their season might unravel. But they're still going to have a lot better season than what people were predicting. And even my prediction, I think they probably might get higher than, I think, 13th will win. Or 15, I can't remember, something like that. Dolphins, I'll tell you right now, won't be in the top 8. I will eat apple pie later in the season if it happens. But yeah, Lockley Miller was outstanding, and as I said before, I think he should go in the halves. Dane Gagai and Brandon Best, they've always been solid players. Dominic Young had a mixed bag. Couldn't catch a ball all night, but he ran big meters. And it just reminded me of a game like Manu Fatafai had one time, and look what his career was like. So don't get down, Dominic Young. You'll be back next week. Yeah, but the Knights forward pack, disappointing, absolutely lackluster, nothing to show. Obviously, they got a lot of injuries, to be fair. Finnick Crossan, he defended well, but had nothing in attack. The Hammer, again, if you listen to me, he scored a try, well done, but he was a little bit overshadowed by Saka getting a double and a triple for Tessie Niu, who's been a revelation this season. He's been very good. Cody Nikarima back in the team. Don't know if it'll stay long, but to have someone like that to be able to call on, he was really good. Brought something off the bench. Yeah, Kaufusi, well, probably one of the big talking points of the round. The late tackle. I think he deserves to get a suspension. Others will say different, but you just can't tackle people late. He could have pulled out and he didn't. And sometimes players like him see red and they just charge like a bull, and then boof, it's already done. They don't have a filter, unfortunately, and that's why they sometimes get suspended. But keep playing the way you do, Kaufusi. But it's going to cost the team a few weeks on the sideline. Let's see if he can fight it, but I can't see it. Mark Nichols was quiet compared to the last couple of weeks, but still solid. But when you got Tommy Gilbert, Lumi, these younger guys delivering, the older ones just are celebrating. Them stepping up, it's very exciting for the Dolphins fans, which maybe condensed what I was just saying, but I still don't think Dolphins will make the top 8. Well, the other Friday night footy game, wow. Probably not as great a game as I was expecting. I thought it was going to be the game of the round, but it really was a bit of a knock-on affair. But Jackson Paulo come back to haunt his own club with a double. He was good. The Rabbitohs were their own worst enemy with 62% completion rate. And the kicking game wasn't the greatest either. The Latrell's kicking boots, so made it hard for them. The Roosters completion at 76% was okay, but still wasn't that great. But they just wanted the game a bit more, I thought. Jared Roy Hargraves, wow. Bravo. Jared Roy Hargraves is the one stopping the fight, not starting it. Craziness. Wow. You just never know. You can get wiser with age, and that was my shock of the round. Was outstanding. Very good stuff. I have to commend you on that one, Hargraves, not to be in the melee. With Joseph Manu, who seems to want to be in a fight of late, even though he's the one getting the high shots on him. Roosters, to me, where they're lacking at the moment, their spine. They're just not gluing together. Tedesco was a little bit more quieter today. Sam Walker and Luke Cleary just not quite stepping up. They need to really go to another level. And Brandon Smith's probably going to take a bit of time to get him more involved. But the thing is, the Roosters are at least winning games. And that's what they need to do at the start of the season. If they can continue to win in games, they're a big danger of taking this title competition out. Yes, I do feel sorry for the Rabbitohs forward pack because they were outstanding. Totola, Burgess, Damien Cook. I mean, the whole bunch of these forwards ran over 100 metres and they lost the game. So it's not all doom and gloom, you Rabbitohs fans. But after a good start, maybe it was a little false dawn and they might have got a wake-up call, and we'll see if they bounce back coming forward. This Cody Walker, I don't know what's happening there, folks. What is happening? He's just been quiet as a mouse this season. You wouldn't even have thought he's played rugby league. He's very disappointing for the Rabbitohs fans. And Rabbitohs really need to get on the winning ways, or it could be a long season for them. Let's go to the game. The Titans versus the Storm in a high-scoring affair. No, nothing world-class, to be honest. And probably two teams not going to be in the top 8. Did I pick the Storm in 8? I don't know, but they're not looking like a top 8 team at the moment. The Titans could, but I still don't think they'll make it. But you never know. Cam Pereira gets a double when I thought he should have been dropped for Joe Fafita. So I'll have to eat. Good on him. I was shocked with that one. Very strange that Kieran Foran was hooked. He had a couple of shockers, but does that mean you drop him? Well, they seem to work, so maybe it's the thing going forward. Who knows? And the Storm are leading at halftime and lose the game. What's happening? What's happening there, folks? Yes. I can't believe it. They're losing the plot. Absolutely losing the plot. Bellamy would not be happy in the defence. Wow, that's just atrocious. A drop in the ball. 63% completion. This is not the Melbourne Storm. Yes, it is this year. The Gold Coast were a bit better, but 71% is not the greatest. It was a fairly even game otherwise. The Titans and the Storm are really just battling out to maybe just make the top 8 going forward. Futueka, Tino, and Fafita, if they continue to play well every week, they're definitely a chance of making the top 8. Brian Kelly was solid in his return. But on the Storm side of things, the only player who I think can hold their head up high is Katoa. And Trent Lalira was pretty good too, but to be honest, outside of Katoa, wasn't much doing for you Storm fans. And I have to admit, AJ Brimson didn't deliver for us on the try-scoring front. But at least the Titans got the win, which a lot of people would say, well, why'd you do that? But I got it right. Let's go to Saturday Night Football and one of the upsets of the season outside of the Dolphins winning. The Warriors got it done. Yes, the Warriors defensively got it done. Can you read that again? Defensively, the Warriors were the best of the round. Yes, the Warriors. Unbelievable. Stephen Kearney must be scratching his head. Why are the team not playing like this back when he was coaching? Because this is the way that I believe Steve Kearney wanted him to play, but he could never get it out of him. And Sean Johnson. Wow. Him and Tamari Martin getting better, more involved. It was very exciting. Nothing like we've seen since 2011. Can they continue and be in the top 8? We'll see. But obviously, to be fair dinkum, Cowboys were missing out Scott Drinkwater. Can he return? he would be but he's going to be out for a while, so the creativity wasn't there. But Tommy Dearden did his best to try and deliver that, and Tom Chester, he played outstanding, considering. But I do expect Valentine Holmes to come back at fullback. But losing 2 out of 3 to start the season for the Cowboys, they need to get back on the winning train. And for one of the earlier premiership favourites, they got to get back to the winning ways, or they could be scratching their heads as a long season to come. On the Warriors side, Tane Tuapiki, outstanding first game. Sorry, I would have said his name wrong, but well done on your debut. Montoya, over 200 metres, he was superhuman. Adam Pompey, he was outstanding. He did make a few errors. He needs to get that out of his game, but he was very, very good. Wade Egan, unfortunately, is going to be missing next week, but he was very good. So that'll give Freddie Luskett or Ronald Volkman a chance probably to play. We're interested to see how they go there. Will Jazz Tavaga go straight to 9? We saw Bailey Sterling play a bit of number 9. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Dylan Walker, his best performance in the Warriors jersey. Tom Ale really stepped up over 100 metres. Very good sign for you Warriors fans. Every time we get excited, Warriors fans, we know what happens. So, but they done it without Nickel Clockstead. Looks like great things to come. If they continue to play like that, my prediction of top 8, the Warriors will be there. But as we know, every time we get excited, they let us down. It's time for the Warriors to change their tune. Yes, the Warriors forward pack, obviously, is looking more like the team that was back in the days when they had Steve Price, Ruben Wiki. So this is a chance for them to really do something in this competition. But it's up to the Warriors if they want to do it. Now we finish the Saturday night footy with the old school rivalry of the Dragons versus the Broncos from the 90s. Yes, there were some big games back then. And this game was crazy football, 70 minutes of entertainment, and the last 10 was just absolutely out of this world by the Broncos. As Broncos absolutely smashed them 40 points to 18. And have really put Broncos on the map for a top 4 finish in 2023. And they can really, really prove that if they can beat Redcliffe and knock them off their unbeaten record. As Tony Staggs lit up, if you listen to me, he got a double. Well done. Ching ching. And Reece Walsh finished the game off, iced it up, was absolutely outstanding as well. But I have to give credit when credit due. Salone and Sullivan were very good on the other side at times. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, they just couldn't handle the last 10 minutes and they lost their way, the Dragons. Anthony Griffin, I don't know how he keeps his job. I'm expecting he will be sacked this season. I don't think they'll be winning the spoon, but I think they're going to be. Defence at the end of the game for the Dragons to let them down. But to be fair, all the ball that the Broncos had, Payne Haas, 240 metres. Then you had Corey Jensen and Patrick Carrington were outstanding. The Broncos back 5 or 100 metres each, pretty much outstanding. Yeah, what can I say? The Broncos were very good. Obviously, I still got question marks on the hooking role, but they seem to be getting away with it now. But I think when it comes to finals footy, I think that's where they might get fined out and might stop them winning a premiership. But Reece Walsh and Ezra Mam at the moment, with Adam Reynolds controlling the team, could be interesting times ahead for you Broncos fans. On the Dragons side, the forward pack starting props. Francis Moore and Blake Lowry outstanding over 100 metres, and Zane Musker and Josh Kerr. So the forward pack did their job, but maybe the backs just need a little bit more. Jack Bird was good in defence, but when it mattered, the last 10 minutes, the defence went to tatters. And I just don't see them being a top 8 team this year, the Dragons, on my. Let's get to Sunday night football. Sunday football. And we saw at Balmore, one of the hottest games of the year, hot conditions, and it was a game of 2 halves. The Bulldogs flew out of the gates. They looked home and hosed with 25 minutes to go, and they fell asleep and let the Tigers back in, but held on just. But I tell you what, Josh Adokars back, baby, outstanding. Burton scored a try. Thank you, Burton, scored a try for us. With the Bulldogs being up by 14 at half time and then up by 20 and let the Tigers back in is not a good sign for your Bulldogs fans for them to fall asleep. The Bulldogs completion rate 76% compared to the Tigers 70%. I suppose there was a difference in this game. Jacob Carreras, I still believe, should be the fullback, but Hayes Perrin played well as well, but 283 metres, outstanding. Paul Alamonte was a machine as well. Josh Preston and Max King were very good as well for the Bulldogs. On the other side, Brett Naden was in everything. He tried his heart out. A couple of errors at the end, penalties, disappointing finish, but that's the way it is. Charlie Sainz was good at fullback, so they didn't miss much there. Luke Brooks looked much better with Braden Wakeham in the team, so it'll be interesting to see if that continues with David Nofaluma or he get dropped completely. John Bateman will be better for the run. He wasn't the greatest, but I expect a big improvement from him next week. But on the performance of both these teams, they'll be improvers in 2023 probably, but I don't think either of us will make grand final, make the top 8. Not even the grand final, of course not. But yeah, I think I had Bulldogs wooden spoon on their performance round 1. But yeah, I think the Bulldogs are probably better than that, and I just went a bit crazy on that one. Yeah, so, but yeah, to me, I think it's a bit of a question mark on whether there'll be any chance later in the season. But let's get to the final game of football, and it was probably one of the best of the round. It was very high completion rate, outstanding footy. The Raiders getting it done just by 24-20 over the Sharkies. And the Sharkies had 87% of the footy, and they lost the game. The Raiders were quite good at 78%, so that'd be a very question mark for you Sharks fans. But Jack Whiten and Jamal Fogarty's kicking game was way better than the Sharkies, and that was the difference in this game. Albert Hopewadi, a career best game. He was off the chain in this game. Tapane, great as always, very good. Elliot Whitehead was better. But the whole team pretty much played decent football, and that's what the Raiders, when they are at their best, that's how they do. They play as a team. Will Jared Croker return? He's trying to get to 300 games. I don't know. We'll see if he gets back on the field, but we'd like to see that for you Raiders fans. This game was very exciting from both teams, but to be honest, I can't see either of these two winning the premiership because defence is key, and both of them leading in 20 points. Even though 20 points is not too bad, but you're not going to beat the best teams with that. Yes, so the Sharkies will have Nico Hines back, which will improve them, and they need him quickly, but I'm not 100% sure they can do much better than the first or second week of the finals. This week, tips. Well, yes, got Manly right. Yes, beautiful Manly. Titans got it done. The Broncos got it done. Bulldogs got it done. And the Bulldogs got it done. The ones I got wrong were probably just a bit of a Roosters, not going with my heart. Not going with my head with that one. The Warriors, how did I not go for the Warriors? And I label Cowboys as the certainties of the week. Well, Scott Drinkwater is a big loss, clearly. And Raiders and Sharks was a bit of a 50-50. And I should have known to go for the Raiders because they're at home. But my round 1 was great, 6 out of 8. But round 2 was disastrous with 3 out of 8. But don't get me wrong, 14 out of 24 is not too bad. Let's hope I can jump it up, get that percentage up as the season continues. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining me here at the Barry Charles Footy Show. With what's coming up, the Broncos and Dolphins, it should be a good game to preview. Obviously, the grand final replay of the Panthers versus Parramatta. Can Parramatta get it done? They have to get it done, Parramatta, to save their season. It's going to be an interesting game, that one. And I think the game in the round will be the Rabbitohs versus Manly. And this is a big statement game for Manly and Rabbitohs as well. Rabbitohs got to say, yes, we're still threat. Manly can say we're one of the best in the comp. So it's going to be an interesting game, that one. So remember to subscribe to the button, share it with all your friends, smash the like button, and we'll be back with some more footy. We're going to preview the footy very shortly. Have a lovely day out there.